On this episode, I'm going to be talking about the weather and some various types of clouds and watches versus warnings, etc. But if you stay tuned to the end, I have an extra special treat for you. I'm out here, and I was able to do some mountain biking yesterday, and I've got some video of me out here in the desert just riding around a little bit. So if you stay tuned to the end, you will get to see it. And please like, share, comment, and subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. Welcome back to my channel. As always, I hope you're doing amazingly well. And on this episode of Truckin It, well, you notice that the seasons are starting to change. I'm out here on my vacation at lovely Terlingua Ranch, Texas. And believe me, it is beautiful out here. Those back there are the Christmas Mountains and the Tejas Mountains, which surround me right now. And if you've never been to the Big Bend region, I strongly urge that you take a vacation out here. Because if you don't, you are missing the opportunity of a lifetime. That said, I want to talk with y'all about weather today. Particularly the fact that, well, the Midwest and northern states are getting a crazy amount of snow. Down here, it appears that I'm starting to see some stuff develop to my south. And it is the beginning of springtime in many parts of the country. Now, springtime oftentimes brings strong winds, and it can also bring what you see when I turn around here. There's going to be lots of different cloud types: stratus, altocumulus, cumulus. But at least today I'm not seeing any lentils. However, I do see some stratus clouds, which indicate rain. And that, my friend, can spell trouble on the road if you do not prepare accordingly. Stay tuned and I'll give you some advice on how to deal with severe weather coming up. So, now I'm going to sit down on the balcony outside here. A little front porch, which many people do not get to experience. I am so sorry if you're a city dweller. And I want to talk to you about this. With spring coming up, many of you are still in winter weather mode. That is, you know where to pull over, or perhaps you don't because you're a rookie, and you know about driving in snow a little bit. And that will still happen in spring. Don't get me wrong. But in springtime, we have much more dangerous weather. And a sliding swift truck like the one you saw in the video from San Diego's KGTV is not the only problem. Now, oftentimes you'll see videos from down here in Texas during this time of the year. Because one day it'll be 70 plus degrees out like it is now, and the next day it'll be down in the 50s And in between those times, you will see some crazy, crazy weather. Now, as I talk to you about this, I want you to understand me here. When there's many times in which you need to think like a pilot, spring is one of those times where you got to keep that safe place in mind. Because one moment you'll be calmly cruising down the road. The next moment you'll see cloud cover like what you see reflecting in my window. And then, a couple of hours later, all trouble breaks loose. Now, by trouble, there's a few things you need to look for in order to determine if this trouble is going to affect you. The first that I would look for is a darkening of the sky. This can signify heavy rain, hail, strong winds, and more. And by more, you might even see videos of it on your local news. Because we're talking about another type of weather phenomenon also. Suddenly, as this storm approaches, you start hearing your radio beep. And suddenly after that, you hear urgent message from National Weather Service or something similar. If those messages start coming up on your radio, that is the time not to be in the middle of nowhere with nowhere to run. If your GPS has a mobile app for weather, such as the Garmin Diesels and some of the Rand McNally GPSs, and of course if you have a mobile app for weather on your phone, this will help you get prepared for the upcoming spring season. Because this will tell you where storms are and what kind of hazards these storms bring. Now, there are several different types which I will have discussed in some past episodes and which I might discuss in future episodes. So, let's start you with the basics. Watch versus warning. A watch means conditions are favorable for the development of severe weather, just like it is in wintertime, in and close to the watch area. In wintertime, these are snowstorms typically, or ice events like what happened to the Swift truck in San Diego a couple days ago. And that would occasionally cause that. In the springtime, we're dealing with a different type of weather threat entirely. You're talking about flooding, severe thunderstorms, and, worst of all, tornadoes. Yeah, sometimes us people down in Texas pronounce it with that little R on the end. Or just call them naders. Because they kind of remind us of what Ralph Nader would have done to the economy had he been elected years ago. Let's just say destructive. So, I may discuss these severe weather events in my next couple weeks of episodes. Those in more detail. But for now, I want you to be aware of that watch versus warning difference. Because that difference can save your life. If a watch is issued, think like a pilot. Start thinking about that safe place where you're going to land that truck. And you're going to pull into that parking spot. If that watch gets upgraded to a warning. If there's a warning out in your area, you're in imminent danger. And warnings are words of strong caution. They will tell you to stop driving. They will tell you to get off the highway and pull over if one of those is issued. Because when you may have heard me talk about strong winds earlier in a previous episode. Winds strong enough to tip trucks. At 58 miles per hour, the National Weather Service has determined that is the limit for a fully loaded tractor trailer to be hit by a wind gust. And at that gust limit, that's when the National Weather Service calls the shots here in the United States and issues a severe thunderstorm warning. If the storm has that strong of gusts associated with it. Now, if there's no storm, they will issue a high wind warning, which is basically the same thing. And if there's snow associated with it, it's a blizzard warning. Simple enough. Now, when those winds start getting to those kinds of speeds, that's when you're in danger of not only rollovers, but also jackknifes, collisions, and worse. Now, there are stories of numerous drivers, and you can search Google for these because some of them are from reputable sources like Oklahoma's Channel 9, for example, where trucks have literally been picked up and tossed by some of these wind gusts and, more importantly, by tornadoes. And the reason why I want you to think about that now is because you don't want to think about it when you're on the overpass and the funnel's bearing down on you. Or the dark sky is coming up behind you real quick. Or you're getting blasted to the side suddenly, and then your back tires come off the ground. And if you're an RVer or a pickup driver, your vehicle may be rated for a higher wind speed, but still you have got to avoid taking chances. Especially with this kind of weather that is going on and is always changing. Some pieces of advice that I can tell you: if you got a GPS with a weather app, or if you got a weather app on your phone, make sure the alerts are enabled. On Garmin, it's a $4.99 subscription, and that's for their GPS device with a smartphone link application. It's a one-time charge, and you'll get weather right on your GPS device. For other systems, such as Rand McNally, or Ford Sync, or Toyota Entune, you'll need to check your owner's manual to find out how to enable weather alerts and weather coverage. If you got a CB with a weather alert feature, make sure it's turned on. Models that this pertains to include the Uniden Bearcats and Cobras 29 models in particular, if they have the letters WX or LX in the name. Name on the Cobra models. If you're using a phone weather app like the Weather Channel, AccuWeather, NBC DFW, or something like that, make sure that the alerts are enabled for your specific location as well as for your home area. Because I don't want you to leave the family out when it comes to getting warned about this stuff. And lastly, if you want to consider talking about the weather, there's plenty of Facebook groups on there to share your videos when you are pulled off in a safe place. And there are plenty of places where you can go and learn more about the different types of severe weather and even get trained on how to be a storm spotter. You can check Google or your local news station for any of those in the United States. And you can also go on to SKYWARN's website, as well as the Facebook page of any of your local meteorologists, and they'll have information there too. So, I want you all to play it safe out there. Have yourself a good time. Keep an eye on the weather. And let's make your best trip your next trip. Bye for now.
Better off that you're climbing, actually. Climb a little bit. Maybe head towards the left. just slipped off the derail.